Hey there everybody, and in this video we're going to take a look at the new Kenworth Dual Pack. Just running through what they like to drive, what the capabilities are, and the different add-ons and bits and pieces you can have for them. So starting off, we have the Kenworth C500. It has its stock tyres on at the moment. It has this unique flatbed as well, roof rack, it can tow a trailer, and it's pretty powerful. So we'll start off with a stability test. So, right, I'm not going to deploy the outriggers yet. So we'll just lift. I mean, that's pretty good. You can see the metal beams are off the ground and all the wheels pretty much are still on the ground. So that's pretty stable, to be honest. More than a lot of trucks. So we'll just bring that around and then we'll take a little drive. Now, by default, when I started driving these, put on, you know, quote unquote best tire, because the stock tires are all-terrain. They're in the all-terrain class, which isn't really a ringing endorsement, but with a bit of weight on board, we'll see. I think it's this one as well, actually. You notice that most of the time when you pack and unpack cargo, the flatbed moves, but actually with this one, it doesn't. The unpacked cargo doesn't actually, well, the packed cargo doesn't have much impact on the suspension, which is rare for a lot of trucks. I'll show you another one in a minute where it is affected by the load of, say, metal beams. But we'll take a go through here. Just as a side note, both Kenworths in this pack have diff lock always on, but only the C500 has all-wheel drive as well. This is the heavy-duty class truck. I think that's what it is. Alright, so let's see how it gets through this. This is where I am in the no all-wheel drive, no diff lock series at the minute. Nearly done. Right, okay. So, getting a bit of spin there, right. All-wheel drive. We've got that boulder. I've tried to minimize the overhang by selecting a front bumper setting that just isn't 40 meters ahead of the front of the truck, because this truck does run quite low and there is no additional suspension option, unlike the highway truck, which does have a raised suspension kit. But you know, it got through there all right, probably due to the all-wheel drive playing a good factor for getting out of mud pits. And of course, the bonus of having diff lock always on, it means that, you know, you can high gear with a full diff lock, and it's just amazing for rough ground, especially if you keep the all-wheel drive in. So I do have the most powerful engine, and oh wow, yeah, you'll get that a lot. You can see that overhang is quite severe. The most powerful engine and the highway gearbox. Let's see, yeah, dashing through there. So this isn't the worst area of the map. There is an area which is slightly worse, and I might try and head my way towards it in a second. That was a lot of damage. It does ride really quite low. I mean, I'm going too quickly, really, for the terrain, as you've probably guessed. Yep, there's another bumper hit. Oh, another issue with the ride height. Dropped off an edge, and yeah. I have grounded out, high-centered, whatever you want to call it, which is never ideal. And that's likely going to be a problem with the other Kenworth, because the overhang of the flatbed at the rear is enormous. So that'll probably get stuck on ledges from time to time, but you know, the general off-road conditions, you can run its stock default tire, which is pretty cool. Okay, so here we are in a more difficult route. Yeah, if just judging on climbing over those rocks behind me, if I didn't have all-wheel drive, I wouldn't have made it this far because of just how low that front bumper is, just really preventing you from doing what needs to be done. We're still on the stock all-terrain tires, which are they're working better than expected, to be honest, which is well, it's a good thing. because you know, I don't actually know the performance numbers of them. I prefer to stay away from that sort of thing until testing, and then look at them afterwards. Because I mean, look at the Kenworth 963 default tires. I think they're all terrain as well. So you think, oh, they're rubbish, but they're actually really good. So, but my primary issue so far with this truck is front bumper options and just a really low ride height. Which, given the amount of different kinds of obstacles Sabre have been added, especially into this map with, you know, the rocky ledges in gullies, just preventing trucks from climbing properly, even with, you know, a high front bumper, it doesn't bode well for a truck like this. But with gentle enough throttle application, you can get in and out of wet mud and stuff, it seems. But we are heading towards probably the worst place in Austria for its driving conditions. And if you've done the mission with the coiled semi-trailer, you know, the coiled tube and semi-trailer, you probably know where I'm going. Or if you've seen the live streams, you definitely should know where I'm going, because it was a nightmare without diff lock and all-wheel drive to tow that trailer the way I did. And I really do wish I'd gone a different way, but, you know, that's by the by. Okay, so we're just getting past the farm now, and from here it's where things get a little hairy for trucks that don't have some people might call those crucial add-ons that I don't really rely on these days anymore. But we'll see how this gets on, and so far so good. So I'm going to be bearing right, because that is objectively a more difficult route to take. And like I say, yeah, it's just default apart from the engine. One thing to note is it's a very resilient truck. I mean, suspension's about 240 points, engine's about 220, tires are the normal 50 points. So you can beat it around quite a bit. Oh, hang on. This might be a little stuck truck moment. You can see the mud in the wheel well there at the front. So if I didn't have all-wheel drive, that's a game over right there. But we're just clawing through bit by bit, using just a small amount of throttle acceleration. Keep the wheels as slow as needs be. Yeah, I don't really need low gear anymore. It's might as well just remove it. Put more control in automatic. Now, obviously, if you were towing a hitch trailer, you would very much struggle to do that with this truck, I feel, given the tires are quite small and you'd have a lot of weight behind you. So, yeah, maybe avoid that sort of thing. I will do a test with a saddle trailer, because I imagine these will do quite well with a lot of weight placed on the back wheels. Have a look at this next bit. This was a lot of fun with that high saddle trailer. We'll keep left. We'll only go on. We'll go on to the rocky mound ahead, and then we'll jump into the other truck. So a few other details, if you somehow haven't noticed: 375 litre fuel tank, which is really nice. Because the fuel consumption is, I'd just say, moderate on average. It's, you know, when you're on a road, or a dirt road, it's nice and low, but obviously, you know, you're pushing through difficult stuff like this, it's going to be, you know, in the region of 20 litres per minute, or what's that, 5 gallons a minute. So yeah, it's not amazing, but it's also not terrible. It's, you know, quite the middle ground. But you've got a roof rack with I'll check in a minute how many. I'll get out of the mud and then check what the spare literage is, and it looks like quite a small little bit of repair points. Yeah, those are the things. This is why I normally script this. This is scriptless, if you could tell. Trying a new thing while also trying to avoid getting stuck. But, you know, if it's struggling like this, having a hitch trailer like a ramp flatbed is just a no-go, really. But I mean, most of the time I opt for a saddle trailer these days. It's just, whoops, that's reversed. It's just, for me, it's just a better option. It's more efficient and it's easier to drive. Right, so that, oh, you can see the suspension travel there. So that roof rack has 140 litres. So those are 35 litre jerry cans. I swear they're different on every truck now. And the repair pack is 300 for such a tiny box. Yeah, they're also inconsistent, but you know, that's half the truck's hit point right there. Oh, that's amazing. Alright, well, I'll get this back to the garage and I'll run through the add-ons and then we'll jump in the other truck. So, back in the garage, let's take a look at the customization. So, in upgrades, it starts with the V8 2300. But, you know, we put in the 2700T. That's fine. Got general balance of gearboxes of whatever you choose. Off-road will use more fuel, but, you know, I'm a high-range person these days. No additional suspension options. Yeah, I mean, you've got all the way up to the OHD tires. So you can run like OHD 1 and 2 if you're feeling that way inclined. But for that testing, I drove with the C500 tires that are in the all-terrain class. And, you know, they did a good job, I think. They do, you know, you can see they're a bit wider than the standard. That's the jack of all trades. They're a bit wider than the off-road tires, which is nice. And there is a chain option, which is based on the OHD2 model. Standard winches, spare wheels, you've got 1 or 2. But they would replace the crane. And with those replacing the crane, obviously the power to weight can go all the way up to S, which is, you know, it's pretty good. Snorkels, you've got a few options. I mean, if you're trying to drive through cab high waters, then I think something's gone quite wrong. So, you know, front facing, the stock one's probably fine as well, to be honest. So add-ons wise, you've got the heavy crane, you've got the log carrier front. Let's put that on, which you can have with the crane as well. You do have medium and short logging frames, but not with a crane. And then you've got a van body, you know, standard maintenance, seismic vibrator as well, sideboard, fuel, towing platform, both towing platform variants actually. Water tank, safety cage. I would probably avoid that because it tends to end up causing you more damage than less damage, despite what it says in the description. You've got the roof rack, obviously the crane, low and high saddle options. So I'm going to put a low saddle on there and go back to that crane and set that up for a bit of a tester. In here, there's, yeah, hood protector. Sure, why not? The stock bumper is that, which is just the worst. So I've opted for the heavy duty pipe because it's more recessed and a bit higher. Whereas the reinforced bar is a bit further forward. It's probably arguable as to which is better, but I'm going to stick with that one. Parking lights, yeah, they disrupt the roof rack. A few exhausts, they sit on the sides of the cab rather than at the back, which is actually an issue for the other Kenworth that we'll get to soon. And here is what the custom paint job looks like. I think that looks really cool, showing like the internal workings, especially with how the air filters connect in. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, let's jump in the other Kenworth and see what that one's like. Okay, so here it is, the Kenworth T880, a 6x4 truck, and the first thing you notice is this highway truck has a 3-slot bed. Ignore the hydraulic levers on each side. None of this at the back actually does anything. It looks like you would be able to articulate the bed, angle it upwards, because you've got a ram here, a matching ram on the other side. There's a winch there, and you'd have levers to move this tow bar arrangement as well. And the edge of the bed is angled so that it would run flat, flush along the floor, but it doesn't move. So it's not an integrated cargo / towing platform bed. No. So, I mean, I was about to say sorry for that, but I didn't design it, so. But it can, you know, you can see that it has 2 tow bars, 2 towing hitches, rather. So you've got one here, that's the original chassis one, and then this rear one. This one does work, unlike when they added the Dairy Special, and it didn't work. but now it does. But yeah, this one does work, so you can move a maximum of 7 cargo with this and a ramp flatbed trailer. So that's all good. Right, so we need to take it off-road. So we've got a slightly smaller fuel tank. That looks like a road. On this one, I do have the OH2 tyres, and you'll notice as well, as I mentioned earlier, no diff lock, no all-wheel drive. It does diff lock always on, but no all-wheel drive. Before we get into the thick of it, the roof rack, 140 on the fuel, and 300 on the repair. So it has the same roof rack, and it also has this funky light bar. There you go. I mean, the red would be flashing independently of the orange, but whatever. Also, you don't see it from in front of the truck, only from behind. So we'll turn that off. But you know, they're little details. Interior wise, yeah, they probably look as they should do. A bit plain, I think. Also, that seat is really far forward, unless you don't have any legs. But right, anyways, let's get on with some driving. So yes, I'm not using the stock tires, just to see how they react. And we've got, as you can see, metal beams and metal rolls. Now the performance, I'm not expecting miracles, but we should be able to at least get through some rough stuff. And again, this is another one where the front bumper is just really, really low. Oh, well, this isn't a great start, is it? This is like the first puddle. One thing I didn't mention about the other truck is that there are a lot of winch points for them, which is nice, rather than like the normal, what, 2 at the front, 2 in the middle, maybe 1 at the back. Yeah, so we're struggling with that hill. You can't run this bed with a crane either. Well, this is a great start, isn't it? I can't go forwards. All I'm doing is rotating the truck now. Oh well, is that the review over then? Oh dear. All that weight on the back. It's not adjustable suspension. We can just get the front wheels up the hill. There we go. Ish. Are we there yet? Nope. Yeah, maybe the default tires are the way to go with this truck. Or the front is just really, really heavy. Let's see if we can move the whole thing sideways. Trying every trick in the book here to get it going. I think that is it now? No? Okay, let's try and reverse it a bit. Trying to give it the path of least resistance, but nope, without that all-wheel drive. It's not taking much to just spin the wheels out. Well, okay, back to the drawing board. Okay, so we're back at a loading area. I've gone back to the stock tires, and here we go again. I will go a slightly different way. So I think there was a route into the hills up on the left there, or on the right rather. Obviously, being a highway truck, it is much faster than its heavy-duty counterpart, which means you're more prone to damage, despite the laws of probability and sliding into things. But, you know, we'll see if the change of tyres, that's a gap. Wow. Did not have... How did I get through that unscathed? Yeah, this thing is hardcore in terms of its oh wow, its wheels are 100 compared to the heavy duty truck having 250 health wheels. Suspension 245. That's double and a bit more than the Transtar, which, well, basically has glass suspension. But you know, we'll plod on and see how we go. Again, oh. Now, the regular viewers of the channel will know that, you know, primarily now I just drive rear-wheel drive vehicles, so I tend to, you know, be capable at getting through mud and wet conditions, although, you know, not without needing the winch from time to time. But maybe is 3 slots of cargo a bit too much for the truck? I mean, the majority of the metal beams is over the rear wheels. Whoa. Now, I'd seen people complain that the trucks were tippy. And, you know, I've driven these trucks around for at least an hour now, and I've not tipped over once, so, you know, are they just bad drivers? Or are they overloading the truck? You know, I saw one post complaining that the truck was underpowered, and it literally had 2 lots of cargo overstacked. Like, well, you know, if you're exceeding the specs of the truck and then complaining that it's underpowered, then that's user error. But anyway, right, we're through there. A little bit of winch intervention needed because it's a hill. Basically, all-wheel drive is a little assist to get you up tiny hills. That's what it's good for. Because every little mud pit in this game is a pit. It's a U-shaped pit. And they're a pain in the backside to deal with without all-wheel drive. But we're getting through these bits okay. Obviously having to slow down and moderate the throttle. But the all-terrain tyres are doing it. I imagine the OHD 1s and 2s would have got through this as well. It's just that initial route I took was, it's very uphill out of what is basically just a wet bog. So even a truck with all-wheel drive would probably have been quite slow coming out of there. And we'll do, to get down to the road, do a right little shortcut here. It just saves making a tighter corner, really. But the handling is good, despite the fairly long wheelbase. The handling is decent. The suspension kit is applied on this truck. It does get one. Right, let's head this way. Then we can head into the bogs a little bit more. But yeah, you can see the speed. This has the same engine as the Kenworth 963. So if you don't own the Season 10 British Columbia, I'm assuming then you don't get access to that engine for this truck, because it's in that engine upgrade is in that map, whatever it's called, that first BC map. So, ooh, no, we'll go this way. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll go straight on. So yeah, as you can see, it's kind of up my street for a no-wheel drive, no diff lock, except it has diff lock always on. This is normally a tippy spot, or just a difficult spot. So obviously I had to drive, to maintain my cargo, I had to drive the other Kenworth through here. And it did make it, slowly but surely, it did make it with its all-wheel drive. But given what this area is, if you've been through here, you know it's particularly bad, and see from the ground conditions that Austria is weird, that it has a lot of V-shaped gullies for your truck to fall into that aren't very pleasant. It's quite a deep spot. We'll try what we can to just gently push through, but I don't know how well that's gonna go. We're still moving. Right, a bit of wiggle steer. Okay, that seems to be us taking a very small amount of throttle to spin the wheels. So yeah, they're not gripping anything. But that's fine, you know, it's a highway truck, it's not supposed to be able to go everywhere. Would I use these trucks in a more maybe sparingly? Not anywhere with very deep snow. Given the amount of bodywork clearance, and you know this doesn't even have all-wheel drive or a decent mud tire to actually deal with snow. But you know, in somewhere like Alaska or even Lake Covd in Kola Peninsula, you probably do fine there as long as you stay out of the far hills and the deep snow. You'll be fine to run around across the roads and across the ice, no issue, like you would with any truck really. Oh, there we go. Hey, look, we didn't fall over. And I wasn't even turning to prevent tipping over. Oh, apparently that's the route. Either way, it goes into this bog. I do expect us to actually get stuck in here. Whoa, yeah. There you go. There's another big V and look, a big hole in the ground. Again, this suffers with the low front bumper. So low. But, you know, the Kenworth's day-to-day job isn't this. So, you know, they don't consider driving through what is effectively untamed wilderness. And if they did, they'd actually put on proper tyres and raise the suspension because they can do that in the real world. But yeah, it's... we're struggling here. Remember, these are the all-terrain tyres, so they're, you know, they're not the ideal tyre for this. You know, there's no dirt here, is there? That's... there's not one speck of dirt in here. So, as customization options, it starts with the Prime C11, which is already a powerful engine. And then the Wanderer is pretty much the most powerful engine. It says a gas guzzler that can take your car from 0 to 60 in no time at all. The engine is about the size of a car, so I don't know what car is fitted with that engine. Same gearbox options. The stock suspension, that's the raised. It's not a monumental difference, but you know, every little helps. And again, you've got the option. The default is a 44-inch all-terrain tire. I've got the 46, and then you've got OHD options of 2 sizes, more chains, same winches. Option of just 1 spare wheel on the back this time. Quite snazzy air intake on the side of the bonnet, or you can have one on the top. And then frame add-ons again, crane, right, log carrier crane, yeah, so you can run long logs with the crane, but not medium or short with a crane, but you know, you can still do them, plus the new logging trailers, so you can combine those. The long flatbed, so that's the triple bed, but you can't run that with any of the other exhausts, which I'll show in fact now. So flat cap puts the exhaust at the back, whereas outrolled and stock keeps them at the side of the cabin. So just beware of that one. Yeah, so the flat cap does not allow for the 3-slot bed, which, yeah, I can see why they've done that. But maybe they could have just slid it back a few notches. Again, you've got the van body, login options, maintenance frame, seismic vibrator, fuel tank, water tank, both towing platforms, roof rack, loading crane, saddle high and low. Is there a 2-slot flatbed? I don't remember seeing that. No, there is. So it's 3 or nothing. It's 3 with no crane or a saddle trailer and a crane. Interesting. No 2-slot flatbed. Why? I wonder why. Or am I just being blind? Yeah, not even a sideboard bed. That's really intriguing as to why that's the case. I wonder if it's because you can see the crane isn't up against the cabin, and it's so you can have that exhaust with the crane. But how weird. How weird indeed. Fuel consumption is it's a bit better. It's a bit better than the other one because the other Kenworth doesn't have all-wheel drive. pretty much. And but it does have the more powerful engine, which is a bit thirstier. But a smaller fuel tank. Overall, it's not bad. I like a UOD2 tire because that's my go-to. But yeah, we'll test the C500 with some cargo on a flatbed trailer, and I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so last test run now with this. We've got 2 metal beams and a metal roll in the back. Oh, look at that. We hit the floor and took engine damage. Now I've driven up here with a white Western Star that didn't have all-wheel drive and diff locks, so in theory, the Kenworth should be able to do this without too many issues. Depends on how stuck I get the trailer on various boulders. It's not the easiest route, by all means. It's not particularly muddy, but it is very steep and switchbacky. So, you know, if it can handle this, then you know, you're in for a good time. I mean, yeah, this bit is a bit muddy. We'll see. Right. So, yeah, I'm just gonna be defiantly not using low gear, because I just want all the power possible going to the wheels, and then I can change it at will. Oh, that railing, that trailer railing. There's what's that in there? Right, so we're just winch enough to get us past that bit. Is that enough? I think so, actually. Oh no, a bit more. There you go. You see with it jerking, that's how you know it was the trailer just being stuck and not the truck. Although the trailer wheels don't appear to be moving that much. There we go. Give it the old wiggle. Onwards we go. That's fuel consumption. Yeah. 23-ish. Depends on the ground type. But yeah, you know, you got to factor in the fact that all-wheel drive is on, which is going to use more fuel. That boulder is just in the best place to get on your nerves, isn't it? And just to show as well, the wheels on this, yeah, 50 compared to the other Kenworth's 100. Which, yeah, very peculiar as to why they've done that. Maybe they've been watching me destroy so many wheels and suspension components on other highway trucks that they felt that it was needed, but I don't know, I think that's a bit far-fetched. So this is still with the all-terrain tires as well. Obviously, all-wheel drive does help tremendously with the truck's ability to go uphill. And it's, you know, it's getting the job done. You know, it's not a lightweight cargo consist. Metal beams. Oh, my back wheels are off the floor. Metal beams and metal roll. But it does appear that the trailer has thrown me into a bit of a funny shape. Can't quite reach over there. I think I have to go slightly backwards. Yeah. Let's see. That will do it. See that low ride height? You can just see the front bumper getting so close to the ground. But it has made it up that hill. So, you know, fair play to it. Right, now we've got some wet mud. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. Although, yeah, obviously I'll have to come out of my gear. That's a deep bit. So that's lots of bodywork in contact with the ground. And then the wheels on the bodywork, and then there's another gully. Yeah, so the middle of the truck there, I'm basically beached. It doesn't really matter what tyre you've got there. You know, if you're beached, you're beached. That's it. It's a winch to get out of that. Because it suffers with the same problem as the Ford CLT 9000, where it's a very long wheelbase, which allows it to get stuck on even quite shallow crests. Where the fuel tanks are in the middle, it just becomes a pivot point. which, you know, it's a shame, but, you know, like I said earlier, these trucks aren't designed for these kinds of terrains where, you know, you've got massive puddles and big dips and mud flowing everywhere. So it's not the truck's fault, it's kind of the game not suiting the trucks. That's why big trucks work so well. But that's what we're getting in season 15, but that's by the by. So, is the pack worth it? If you're, you know, if you're a big Kenworth pack, if you're a big Kenworth fan, then sure, you know, it probably is if you want to drive Kenworths and things. You know, we've already got the single pack one, was it the W990? Never get it right. And the 963 from season 10, British Columbia. On their own, you know, I kind of like this one. It reminds me a lot of the Cat CT680. It's powerful but rides low, especially as it's in the heavy duty class as well. The other truck I'm a bit, maybe not, well, a bit underwhelmed by it, because I do kind of wish it had the UOD2 tyres. I feel like I can make those work better than other tyres. And the fact that it doesn't have a 2-slot bed, even without a crane, like, that kind of really surprises me. It's 3 or nothing. But you can tow a trailer, which is, you know, given you've only got diff lock, it is going to be awful as soon as you go off-road. It's not going to be great, is it? Because that's just not how things function in this game, you know. Pulling weight behind you is a lot harder than pulling the weight like this that's pressing down on your drive wheels. So, you know, that's not great. Yeah, they look nice. Oof, so what is this? 4, 5? No, I'll put it on the screen. It's about a $5 UK. Imagine what dollars and euros. It's not gonna be too dissimilar, but it, you know, if you're a completionist and you know you collect them all, then sure, you'll probably get it. But if you're looking for something, you know, does it fill a gap or does it fill a niche? No, it doesn't. So this is a very narrow gap. It's not gonna be, oh my god, new best truck sort of thing. Nowhere near. These two kind of fit into that more generic sort of jack of all trades, master of none type, not role, but position that a lot of the American trucks have. So, you know, they're probably nice to haves, but there's nothing particularly remarkable about them, for sure. Okay, let's try and get out of this even without a trailer. This particular patch is like really bad. As I try and wriggle my way out here. Yeah, the lack of a 2-slot bed for the, was it the T880? Yeah, it does confuse me because it would fit. And I think if you don't have the exhaust at the back of the cabin, the crane should be close to the cabin, so that you can definitely fit one. Although it does provide more options for logging because they both do short, medium, and long, which is, you know, always a win. It's always nice to have more logging options. But we got 2 new logging trailers, which also added more options, and you don't, you know, they came as part of the season pass, whereas these trucks don't. So, you know, you've got, if you're, you know, you're looking for whichever one to buy, you know, I'd take the season pass because you get more trucks that perform better and more trailers that are more suited. Hang on for that, break on for that. So yeah, if you're looking for something new, no, these probably aren't worth your time or worth your money. Let's see if we can actually, it won't move. It won't even lift. Damn. Can I pull it forward at all? No, this is basically where this lives now. But oh well. So yeah, it's a bit mid. 6 out of 10 overall as to whether or not it's worth it value-wise. Yeah, so if you've preferred this style of review, do let me know down below, as opposed to my regular, more common 5-minute review, because obviously this one's a bit longer. Yeah, so do let me know about that. If you have enjoyed, also do let me know down below, and have a great day.